Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today?
Warning, you are about to enter a free-thinking, innovative, open-minded environment. Be advised, this is the Tommy Nation Politics Tuesday live stream with special guest
Dylan from
Kane,
Irritant TV.
American Crisis. He says, "'Tis surprising to see how rapidly a panic will sometimes run through a country. All nations and ages have been subject to them. Britain trembled like an ague at the report of a French fleet. In the 14th century, the whole English army ravaging the kingdom of France was driven back like petrified men. And then it turned out that a brave exploit was performed by a few broken forces, collected and headed by a woman, Joan of Arc, with success." So they were all crazed about this French fleet, the British. Turns out Joan of Arc, this crazy girl who thought she was hearing God voices, kicked their asses, and it wasn't a French fleet; it was just Joan. So it's just like we're literally just like, oh my God, it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Turns out it's your fucking vaccines, your ties with corporate big pharma, your fucking deep state moguls who lie on cue, and all of the mainstream media that assists in manufacturing consent for your bullshit that nobody believes anymore. So literally, it's all falling apart, guys.
I can never remember the name of the guy who was like the ex-Soviet propaganda minister dude who came over here, and he gave an interview in the 80s talking about how the propaganda that was going to work, that they've been infiltrating with the West with, and he said that people are going to get to the point where it doesn't matter what you show them. You can show them any fact, you can show them any research, you can show them any talk. It doesn't matter. They won't be able to question the official narrative. And fuck me if we aren't seeing that. I don't know how to undo it, but I understand now that undoing it isn't simply a matter of regurgitating facts at them. Now, not to say that it isn't important to constantly be on top of what actually is going on, but for these zombie masses, these NPCs, as I think is a very good way to put them, unworthies of souls, facts don't matter. And I don't know what the deal is. Although I will suspect it. I will suggest this, is that after observing my mother throughout my life, it occurred to me that I think if you took like a percentage of the population, there's a very big chunk, and when I say big chunk, I think like double-digit percentage, that if they were simply given the opportunity, they would be a Hitler or a Stalin or a Pol Pot or a Mao Zedong, or any of these guys that made the mega murder list of just like slaughtering their own country 7 ways to Sunday and starving them into absolute terror and submission. The only thing preventing the most of the population from doing this is they simply haven't had the opportunity to have that level of control over somebody else. And what we're seeing in the COVID tyranny is Karens, as we've liked to deem them, are suddenly getting that taste of power. Finally, I can tell other people what to do. I have the power to tell other people what to do, and they're coming out of the woodwork. And like I said, what's that?
I'm sorry. Just sorry to interrupt you, but like I have to say, like honestly, Dylan, I honestly feel like that's a human nature trait, because any of us could be a Stalin, because I really do feel like there's it's getting to the point where there's only one option, and that's the option that our founding fathers took. And if that means I'm advocating for violence, but like I don't want to kill people, but I just feel like that would be better if the Democrats and Republicans were all hung on the trees outside the East Coast, just like they should be as traitors.
That would be emotionally satisfying, but I don't think it would fix anything. So
you don't think so?
So
wow.
Here's why.
Why not?
Here's why.
Okay, please.
So when we are a populous mass that doesn't actually understand how the system works, and unfortunately, that a lot of that's due to no fault of our own. That's due to the fact that we have never taught how to not only not taught how the system works, it was cleverly obfuscated how the system works to make sure that we didn't understand how it works. If we were to get rid of the current leaders, put them all up on the gallows, Republican and Democrat alike, start over.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe there would be a blip. However, it would get infiltrated. We would have new scum that would rise to the top, and that the populace still wouldn't understand how the system works.
That's true. You're right about that. But they're the ones in charge of all the division. Like, they're the ones doing the whole January 6th thing. Like, it's a fuck. Meanwhile, covertly expanding the Patriot Act powers and fucking making us all domestic terrorists. That shit would stop, right?
It wouldn't stop. It wouldn't stop. I mean, like I said, it might get slowed down, and there might be a reset of saying, okay, well, the people who were doing that aren't doing that anymore. Are more people, more people going to do it?
Right.
I think absolutely it would. The critical thing to do here is to start learning and understanding the system. And I actually did an interview today with somebody just on the subject. It's not posted yet because I got to edit it still. But is when you understand how and I'm particularly referring to the American system here, how the American system functions and how the American system was set up, it's actually absolutely fucking incredible. The problem is nobody knows how it works except our Illuminati overlords that want to take advantage of it and break it to pieces and prevent us from ever learning what it is and organizing to actually use it. Imagine we're flying a plane. I can't remember if I talked to you about this last time. We're flying a plane, and the passengers represent the voters. The pilot represents the elected official, whichever one we happen to be talking about. Call it the president. Fine. And so the passengers fight over who's going to be elected to fly the plane. And then whoever's flying the plane gets to decide where the plane's going to go. That's the battle most of us are viewing, right? Nobody's talking about who's running maintenance on the plane. Because if the plane crashes and burns, it doesn't matter who is flying it.
Unless the pilot was drunk and fucking crashed it, right?
Oh, well, and that's not to say that the person flying it isn't important. What I'm saying is that it isn't important if nobody's making sure that the plane stays repaired and the plane is functioning properly. And so, I mean, to give it a specific example of that, so the American system was designed to have many, many more layers in between, boundaries in between the various types of government than any other government that's ever existed on Earth since before or even until now. What the Illuminati overlords want to do is remove all those boundaries. And so, I mean, typically we think of the boundary of say, okay, there's the executive and the judicial and the legislative, a perfect example of boundaries. Well, there's also the boundaries between the states and the federal, and then even in the states you have these boundaries between counties and cities and state and and school boards, and inside each of these things there's more boundaries. And even if you look like at the legislative, there's another boundary because there's a House of Representatives and there's a Senate, and there's all these boundaries all over the place.
And in the community, there's the collective, and then there's the individual with inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, I know, exactly. There's all these boundaries all over the place. And so the goal is to start melting those boundaries. And so one example of this, you brought up the domestic terrorist thing.
Yeah.
So
I want to know your thoughts on that for sure.
So
you know what the DOJ is doing right now, right?
Yes, they're weaponizing to look at parents to go after them for if they show up. If they show up and participate in government, they are now a domestic terrorist, is what's going on there.
The FBI scope of domestic terrorism is now larger than Homeland Security's. It's now larger.
But, okay, this is interesting. I learned this from the guy that I actually interviewed today. I didn't learn it today, but it was the same guy. Mark Hare from the Center for Self-Governance. Okay. So there's two ways that you can be defined as a domestic terrorist in the United States. The first way is if you're doing violent acts and you're connected to an international organization. That's a terrorist.
Like when they called Trump a Russian asset? Even though there was
I'm saying we blow up a building and we're connected to Qatar organization.
Hey, what about Timothy McVeigh? He wasn't connected. He was the underground.
So he wouldn't have been a domestic terrorist. He's a criminal, but he's not a domestic terrorist.
He flew a plane into the fucking Oklahoma City Federal Building. That's not terrorism. I don't understand. I don't get it.
You mean he didn't fly a plane? He set off.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm fucking.
No.
You're right.
I mean,
he bombed
the
Federal Building.
I'm not saying what he did wasn't really bad,
I know you're not. I'm just trying to figure this out. So that's not terrorism, though.
That's not terrorism according to. That's not domestic terrorism according to what. This legal definition.
That sounds like incompetence on purpose. When you don't call that terrorism.
No, I'm not done yet. Wait for this.
Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna go.
Now with that definition of domestic terrorism, you could be labeled and charged. There's a second way to be labeled a domestic terrorist, which is if you appear to intend to intimidate a public official. Let me say that again. If you appear to intend to intimidate a public official.
Is this like written down somewhere? Like these rules?
Yes.
Because that sounds super ambiguous, bro.
That's the whole fucking point, right? But now, listen.
That sounds like what the FBI did to Gretchen Whitmer. Shouldn't they be arrested for two?
But so now you can label that, but you can't charge on it. This is fucking weird. So this is the battle of words. This is like the slow creep of totalitarianism where they set this stuff up long in advance, right? So if they can get that piece at some point later in the future, if they can get the other piece where they could charge, now they can start throwing these people in jail. Right now they can only hit you with the official label, which weaponizes the FBI and all that sort of stuff, right? So going back to the school boards, when we were saying, okay, where are these boundaries? So the school board is supposed to be a boundary where you say, okay, we elect people to the school board, and they're supposed to make decisions for us who elected it, right? We pay taxes, and that pays them, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So you can get around that by saying, okay, the school boards have to be connected to the state school board association, and the state school board association has to be connected to the national school board association. Now there's this direct pipeline from the feds to the state to the local thing, just melting those boundaries like butter and getting everything on the same page. So whoever's up top, which I'm sure isn't anybody that's in any of our best interests, can say, okay, this is what we're going to be teaching. We're going to be teaching CRT. We're going to be teaching comprehensive sex ed. We're going to be teaching diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Are those all bad things? These are bad things.
What's that?
These are bad things you're saying? Comprehensive sex ed? It's critical race theory?
I think so. Do you think they're good things?
I don't care. I was homeschooled, and I learned fine. My parents didn't even really teach me. I read books. So I don't really get what the big deal is about what people tell you people telling you things, people having conversations. I don't really like censorship.
So the idea is with all this stuff is to destroy parenthood, is to remove parents from the equation of raising children. And what they're doing to the children is turning them into this unreasonable, incapable of thinking Borg that will just, like I said, do whatever they're told. This is zombie masses that we described from the beginning. That's the goal here, and the reason why all the school boards in the country seem to be on the same page with this is because they've all been stuck with this pipeline straight from the top.
So I have a question, and I have a question, and I don't want it to seem like I'm being disrespectful because I'm not.
Okay.
I completely respect. Let me tell you, the right wing has been right about this whole pandemic. My friend Veronica said, as soon as these go on, we're not going to ever hear the end of it. She was right. So I defer to the vaccine, and I feel like that you guys have the right answer when it comes to stuff like that. But I will have to push back as a leftist, because I am a leftist. There's always this little aura of these kids. The frogs are gay because of what's in the water. The kids are trying to control you because there's no Bibles in the schools. There's always this little aura of this little. I don't know what to call it. I don't even know what to call it, Dylan. I'm just kind of there's always this conspiracy of we're all gonna become communists, right? It's because the Democrats are communists. It's all this.
I can define that.
It's a vibe. I'm getting that vibe. I'm getting the vibe. The Bible's out of schools, and we're all going to be communists now.
So no, it's not so much that the Bibles are out of the schools and we're all going to be communists. Fundamentally, and this is my description of what a communist is, and these are just useful idiots. It's not like they're the ones running anything. A communist is incapable of considering win-win interactions. All interactions are win-lose, and the beginning of the Communist Manifesto is like on page 2. What is pretty explicit with this, which is that all relationships are set up between the oppressors and the oppressed. And so because there's no such thing as a win-win interaction, all interactions are win-lose. So anytime anybody in an interaction is trying to win, they must be an oppressor. Now, what communism, or I should say Marxism, does is takes this one step further. It arbitrarily defines oppressor and oppressed. You're in that group oppressor, and you're in that group oppressed because of the words that we use, not because of any actions you've ever done.
Because of the words that we use?
Because of the words we use. You are in the working class, you're the proletariat, and you're in the ruling class, the bourgeoisie, and that's the end of it. It doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter what you think. Whatever, you've been labeled this, you've been labeled that. That's it. So then there's one more step to this. Is they say, okay, there's no such thing as win-win interactions. All interactions are win-lose. They're not explicitly saying this, but this is evident in their behavior. All interactions are win-lose, and because these categories have been arbitrarily defined, it doesn't matter what the oppressor says. It doesn't matter what the oppressor does. He's the oppressor because we said so. And the only way to overcome the oppressor is through violent revolution.
That's why you don't like critical race theory. Is that why?
I mean, there's other reasons why I don't like critical race theory, but
Dylan, I really want to talk about critical race theory because I have no idea what the fuck it is. I hear they just teach it in college. But what exactly is this critical race theory entail? Like the white people in general are the oppressor? Because there were white people that owned slaves, and they literally didn't even stop, even though they said all men were created equal. So I don't know what to say, bro. Like, they literally did. Thomas Jefferson, he fucking was saying all men were created equal while he was fucking having 60 slaves in his plantation. They buried
Thomas Paine said all men are created equul, and then Thomas Jefferson got his name stuck on it. But
really? Okay.
Yeah, Declaration of Independence was written by Thomas Paine.
Glenn Beck said...
Glenn Beck is a dork.
I'm just saying these guys are hypocrites, bro. And by the way, Thomas Jefferson not only owned slaves, he also had a problem with the fucking media because he was a liar. These politicians lie all the time, and I don't care. That's what I'm saying.
So now, you mixed a lot of stuff.
I did, bro.
For me to try to address.
Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world.
Can we at least be on the same page that slavery was a human norm in all cultures everywhere?
Yes, but the United States was even more savage because, they did. Come on, people didn't whip their slaves with brine and then force them to take shits in each other's mouths. Like that was not the Samaritan. That was not the Good Samaritan kind of slavery. When the Bible says.
So there's no such thing as Good Samaritan type of slavery.
There was. They were a part of the freaking family back in the Bible times. If you were somebody's slave, you were literally part of their fucking family. You ate with their kids.
But also, don't forget in Roman times, if you wanted to chomp your slave up and eat him, that was perfectly legal.
Yes, but Romans worked it out so you could get out of slavery. This was the only time where a Negro race was literally stuck in slavery because we were an inferior race. This was the only time that has ever happened before, Dylan.
Wait.
We were
wait.
It was.
So now I'm not saying any of that was good.
I'm not saying it's good either. I'm not saying it was your fault. You have nothing to do with that. And I don't think white people are oppressors. But really, this was a fucking savage ass time. And I don't know.
Let me finish this point. Let me finish this point. Yeah, because white people are the freers. Because slavery was the cultural norm in all cultures, in all societies, everywhere on Earth, until white people. The United States was late to the game. Britain did it first. White people went forth to end it.
Hope you're having fun watching Tommy Nation Politics. Make sure you donate to Tommy Nation Politics on Cash App or PayPal. Capital T, capital N, capital P. Tommy Nation Politics, one word.
The whites were the first people to say, okay, this slavery is a bad idea, and we should get rid of it. Now, it wasn't easy to do.
I'm not gonna chalk it up to a one race. John Brown, he's my motherfucker. He's one of my favorite people in history. He's a white person.
So,
Abolitionists were abolitionists who were white. This has nothing to do with color. This has to do with our fucking country, bro. Our country was sick like that.
Down.
In fact, during the civil rights.
Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point.
But I have a lot to say about this, Dylan, because our politicians, you know how they did there? You know how they did there?
What I recommend,
they literally like free states and slave states, bro.
Yeah, I know. Now,
they've always been horrible scum, bro. They've always been horrible scum.
And the free states were required by law to return the slaves to the masters in the slave states.
So that's our country.
So America was late to the game. America was late to the game in Western civilization for freeing the slaves. However, what I recommend listening to, if you can find it because it's been censored off of the internet, is Stefan Molyneux's presentation called "The Truth About Slavery," and in it, I had no idea until I listened to this that the African slave trade, the majority of it went to the Muslim world, not the Christian world. And the reason it's called "The Truth About Slavery," presented by Stefan Molyneux.
So I'm going to look into it.
And the reason that you don't see blacks in the Islamic countries, Saudi Arabia or whatever, today saying, hey, you treated us really poorly in the past, is because they killed them all. Males were castrated, and roughly 1 in 7 survived. And females were taken as sex slaves, and they were required that they would kill the children to make sure that they didn't have any, black offspring.
Who did this again?
Islamic society.
Oh.
Is the entirety of Islamic society. Now, again, I'm not saying that anything.
The entirety of Islamic society? Was it a Islam thing? Was it a caliphate thing?
So, my understanding is that Islam has kind of had this weird relationship with slavery because it's kind of sort of looked down upon, but everybody kept doing it anyway, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't have enough. I don't know enough to say about what exactly Islam thinks of slavery.
I don't know. Gaddafi made he had made Libya a free state, and then slavery actually returned. Slavery returned.
Exactly.
When we took him out. So he was Islamic. So I'm just.
I'm not pointing at all Muslims and saying this is your fault.
I know you're not.
I'm just saying
not Sean Hannity.
We're comparing Western civilization to Islamic civilization, and
so
we're going to
say. Do we come out better? Do we come out better in that?
Oh fuck yeah!
We do. I think we come out about the same. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the Christians here and the Muslims over there are the exact same people, and they would have Sharia law all over the place if they could. Back when they want Bible, whenever they say they want Bibles back in schools, that's what they mean. That means I want to establish a Sharia law in which my religion trumps
because even if you have a theocratic law, I think it's very, very clear if you look at history that theocratic law in Islam is a completely different animal than theocratic law in Christianity.
How so?
Because the fundamental premise of Islam is to convert by the sword, and that our founder, not only was he a religious leader, he was a political leader, and he was a military leader.
Are you talking about Muhammad?
Muhammad, yes. So it's good and it's virtuous to go forth and conquer in the name of Islam. It's good and virtuous to force somebody to convert. It's good and virtuous to lie if it serves the state of Islam. And I'm not saying that Christians didn't go forth and convert.
So I'm curious, isn't that what happened during the Crusades with fucking England and the fucking Knights of Templar? Weren't they doing the same fucking shit in the name of Christ? Converting by the sword?
I recommend going and listening to The Truth About the Crusades by Stefan Molyneux.
Shut the fuck up, Dylan, for real. It's the
for
same
real.
thing.
So I mean, first of all, if we're gonna look
the
at
truth
the
about slavery and the truth about slavery and the truth about the Crusades.
So point one about the Crusades is everyone seems to forget that was Christian territory. That was Christian territory before it was invaded by Muslims in either the 7th or 8th century.
What they invade?
So the entire Mediterranean. What's that?
They've been part of Rome, right? And there was a lot of
Yes,
there were a lot of people in that bitch.
the entire Mediterranean basin was Christian.
Yeah, the first of Crusades.
The Muslims
Really,
come
was
in.
it? Was it Christian? There were. I don't. I don't. Really?
So I'm talking all of North Africa, all of the Levant, all the western part of Turkey, all of that was Christian territory. Now I'm not saying every single individual in there was Christian, but it was Christian controlled. So the first and foremost,
Interesting. Wow.
Islam through jihad took the entire Levant. Constantinople was the only thing slowing them down. They took the entirety of North Africa, and they took over Sicily. They had parts of southern Italy, and they were like continuously trying to come up through. I mean, they got Spain, and they were continuously trying to come in through into Europe through Spain and through Constantinople, which was modern day Turkey, right, or the Byzantine Empire at the time. So castles originally were built by the Europeans to protect from Muslim slave raiders on the Mediterranean. So the original castles were for everybody to go, oh my God, here come the Muslim raiders, get out of here, and go hide in the castle, right? The Christian world had been hit by jihad after jihad after jihad after jihad for hundreds of years, and finally, when they're in Spain, they're attacking Constantinople, they've taken over Sicily, they're in Italy, the Pope is finally like, okay, I think we should mount a counterattack to this. Like, we got a fucking problem here. And then for that to be flipped around and be like, oh, look at all these horrible things that these crusaders did in the name of religion. Oh, okay, yeah. Compared to what?
This is an interesting conversation. I have not equipped to fucking debate you because I have not. When I studied the all that, I was studying the music part of it, so I know exactly who fucking Poulenc is, and I can tell you exactly who the composers were during the time, but I can't tell you what was going on like war wise. So,
so here's my point about the Crusades. I'm not.
Yeah, how do we get to the Crusades again? We're talking about slavery here, right?
We were talking about slavery. We were talking about white privilege, which came from CRT. Now,
it came from Jed Psaki and her kickboxing comment.
Right. So going back to CRT, going back to Marxism and all this sort of stuff. Yes. No. Okay. I remember the point I wanted to make. You mentioned CRT, and then you said whites own slaves, and I'm saying you've got a logical leap here. That first of all is out of context, and I explained why it was out of context. But second of all, it's like, okay, yeah, whites owned slaves, so did blacks. There were such things as black slavers. The majority of slave transport and slave owners were actually Jews, not Christian whites.
So all of these sound like fucking excuses. And what happened was we literally fucking had a civil war to stop it. While all these founding fathers went la da 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 da, I'm gonna create equal, and they did nothing like fucking politicians do. They were fucking lame ass lying pieces of shit. They only cared about them and their fucking plantations and their dicks.
So,
yeah, that's right. I made you speechless.
Compared to what? No, you didn't leave me speechless. Compared
yes,
to what?
I did. Okay,
I'm still talking. Compared to what? Like I said, slavery is the cultural norm everywhere on Earth. And you can say, oh well, the Romans had the members of household. Yeah, if they didn't get sent to the Colosseum to be sacrificed.
You could actually win your freedom at the Colosseum if you had the guts and the fucking fortitude.
Yeah. Okay. So if we go, is that an acceptable?
How does a Negro win their freedom? And how does that Negro win their freedom in 1800?
Oh, okay. So you would be okay with if we go back to 1850 and say, okay, we're going to start a Colosseum, and the Negro that survives wins his freedom. You would say that would be a better situation.
I'm not saying it would be a better situation. I'm just saying they changed their game. They changed the game with the whole inferiority, white supremacy. The white supremacy thing was a different, unique, completely American thing that happened. No other country, no other nation had the white supremacy thing. And it literally infiltrated our entire system, bro. To the fact that it actually is literally in our system now. It's still there.
Okay, so every nation ever considers themselves superior.
Look,
every race considers itself superior.
Okay, this is agree to disagree, bro. Because literally, bro, there's
don't give me this fucking agree to disagree.
Because I know, Dylan.
Hold on.
Because I love you, and I'm not gonna disagree with you. This is like the only nation that fucking rests themselves on the pride of being white. Everybody else, other nation, I'm Irish, I'm fucking Polish, I'm fucking German. Here, there's white supremacy, bro. There's white.
You're not making any sense. I don't understand what you mean.
You don't know the difference between white supremacy and... You know why there's white supremacy? Because they said that niggers were fucking inferior. If you were a dark-skinned person. Every other country is proud. They think they're better than people because they're Irish. They think they're better than people because they're English. They think better than people because they're Polish. Here, they made a whole entire white supremacy system.
You need to listen to some E. Michael Jones.
I'm just saying that's what happened, bro.
No, I'm saying that's not what happened.
But they destroyed our identity to the point where we have no idea if we're fucking from Sudan, from fucking Somalia, from any part of Africa. That's why we call ourselves black people. Because we don't know where we're from. They didn't even give us the fucking dignity of fucking saving that history for us. They destroyed it completely. Just because we were more inferior.
The couple things here. First of all, you do know that the white man, apparently the white supremacist here, was the last in a chain of people who weren't white involved with the slave trade, right? So now,
Dylan, I'm not saying anything about a white man.
About Ethiopians.
I'm not saying anything about a white man. White men mean nothing. I'm saying this fucking country organized a system that did that. It wasn't you. In fact, there was white men that were fighting that system until they died. They died for it, like John Brown. John Brown sacrificed his life for Harriet Tubman, and he is the most. And then what I'm saying is that he doesn't even get a holiday for that shit.
So here, listen.
That's what the system does, bro. They don't appreciate John Brown, do they, Dylan? Think about it, bro. They don't appreciate John Brown.
Listen,
I don't.
Again, the slavery was bad, but you got to put it into context. Slavery was a cultural norm everywhere, and so you get this country that says, okay, we have this concept of freedom and blah 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 blah, and they fucked up on this thing on slavery. I 100% agree that was a complete fuck up. It was hypocritical, disgusting, stupid, awful. However, because the framework was there, you have a civil war that had more to do with slavery. I can talk about that too. Although I'm not going to about one of those guys that say, "Well, it had nothing to do with slavery." I'm not suggesting that. But you have the Civil War where people fight to say, okay, no, slavery is ridiculous. It's not consistent with these founding principles that were put down almost 100 years ago.
It wasn't.
That argument couldn't have been made if those founding principles weren't put down first 100 years ago. Right? You're putting America on this pedestal and saying, okay, here's all these rules that apply to you because you've attempted to be more moral than everybody else.
Both things are true. Both things are true.
What's that?
Them putting these principles in their constitution, that turned out to be an argument, right, for a civil war. And also they took the slavery thing and they made us niggers fucking inferior and the white supreme. They completely revolutionized. But
I mean that wasn't unique to America,
bro. It was.
No, it wasn't.
And that's literally why they think that they can go out in Georgia and pick up trucks and hunt us down like rabbits because they used to all the time because we were inferior, bro. They still do it to us, bro. Even now. Not you, not white people.
Go and pick up trucks and go and hunt down black people.
Arbery, bro. Did you see that video? That was classic. That was what
I haven't seen that video.
Back in the day.
And again, I'm not saying that stuff doesn't happen.
It happens all the time, every day, and it's not changed, bro.
And then it doesn't
literally got a beer summit in the Rose Garden from a black president because it won't ever change.
It doesn't happen in the reverse. So there's no blacks ganging up on whites and going out and hunting whites.
Let me tell you, Dylan, and I love you, bro. And it's not your fault. I didn't say white people. I think you're fucking misconstruing my point. I don't think it's white people. It's this culture. It's this system. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not white people. White people are not inherently racist, inherently anything evil. White people are fine. In fact, they're Polish. They're fucking, they're English. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the culture, the system that has made the nigger fucking inferior and the fucking white person superior. That has made a culture, bro.
I think the nigger has internalized the abuse more than the white person, more than the cracker has lobbed it at him.
I think you're right.
Let me make this observation, and this is completely anecdotal.
You're not afraid to talk about it too. Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate it.
It's been hammered into me since I was very, very young, going through school, not to see color. Don't see color. Don't see color. Don't see color. Don't see color. See color's bad. See color's bad. Don't see color. Don't see color. Blah, 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 whatever. Okay, fine. Don't see color. Sure.
Who says this?
When I listen to black people, particularly if it's two of them talking to each other, they are obsessed with race.
Right.
They're fucking obsessed with it. Like what type of hair do you have, and what shade of darkness do you have, and talking about white people this and fucking this guy is or isn't a nigger or whatever, and I'm like, isn't this the shit that we're being accused of? Like, I don't talk like that. I don't think like that. Like, what? And
I think you're right. I think you're right about what you said.
We
have internalized it.
I don't know where it came from. Like maybe it came from the fucking slave plant.
I'm telling you.
I don't know.
I'm telling you where it came from.
You gotta stop it. I can't do it for you. It's like you're responsible.
I'm over it. I'm over it. I think
actually,
we should all
I want you
unite.
to explain something to me. I want you to explain something to me. All right.
I'll try my best because you explain so much to me.
So I'm watching. There was this clip, CNN or Fox or some bullshit, and there's this socialist black professor who's got these obnoxiously buck teeth. You know who I'm talking about?
Hey, you're talking about Doctor. I know you're talking about. The hair.
Guy drives me nuts.
Yeah, he's
but
cool.
not the point. And he was on with another black guy who's obviously conservative.
Yeah.
And I think they were talking about defunding the police because it was in the middle of the country burning itself down. And they start off making these arguments, and I think the conservative guy goes first, and then the bucktooth dude goes next, and the conservative guy starts to agree.
What's his name? I'm gonna fucking fuck him. I'm sorry. I have to figure out.
Starts to agree with him, and then the liberal professor starts going off on this weird racial stuff. And I mean, it was like, "What you say, Negro?" And then, I couldn't even understand what was coming after that. And it looked to me,
Cornell West.
Thank you. And then I mean, the conservative guy started going, "Cut this guy off. I don't want to hear this sort of thing." But what it looked like to me was that the liberal black guy was calling the conservative black guy, going, "You're falling out of line, and you're black, and you shouldn't be talking like this." That's what it looked like to me.
There's a lot of that, bro. See, like,
what the fuck is up with that?
Dylan, believe me, this whole paradigm of inferiority versus superiority, it's literally fucking unleashed on the black race, an inferiority complex. And within that has filtered down, like, the light skin versus the black skin. Oh, you're light skinned. You got the working in the kitchen, the working in the fields. This whole paradigm that we were started with, it really has. You nailed it, bro. It really has fucking just like it's changed every part of our fucking like lives.
And so what I'm saying, you can jump up and down about, okay, maybe it is or maybe it isn't white supremacy. None of that will ever fix it.
I know.
You guys got to get over it.
But I am over it. But I don't know how to fix it, bro.
But you're not over it. Based on what you just told me, you weren't fucking over it.
No, I'm just saying it's the truth. That's what happened, bro. And it's literally permeated and destroyed our entire psyche of our race. In fact, that's why we vote for Joe Biden. Because we like a fucking old man tell us to look fat, you ain't black. We like a fucking old white cracker man to tell us that we ain't black. Because that's what we're used to. We like it, bro. Deep down, we like that.
So stop liking it. That's what I
don't get. Really good conversation. And like, I don't know how to stop it, Dylan. That's it's a problem. It's a huge problem for us. I don't know how to stop it, bro. Martin Luther King tried to stop it. Malcolm X tried to stop it. They both fucking got assassinated. They didn't stop it. I don't know how to stop it, bro. I don't know how.
Well, I mean, let's go back to the word responsibility. Who's responsible for fixing you?
Me.
Right.
Yeah. Me.
So if you have aspects of yourself that you want to fix, okay, we've got society, we got parents, we got school, we got religion. I mean, cable, the news, the police, it's races, but all the stuff affecting you. That's real. It's real stuff that's affected you. But at the end of the day, you're the one who has the free will and the capacity to say, okay, am I going to go along with this, or am I going to do something to affect change? Right?
Yes.
That's on you. That's totally on you.
I don't know how to fucking take that, because I have done that.
I
know.
So I've got a recommendation.
I know that that things have changed. And I know that white people right now would lay down their lives for me. And I would lay down my lives for them. So I know, bro. But I can't fucking take that shit and put it over my shoulders and fucking throw it at my fucking race to make them fucking stop talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. Do you know how sad it is for me, bro? To look at this, how angry they are. They're looking at Kyle Rittenhouse and they're thinking just because he's white, he's just a white teenager, he's gonna get off. They're fucking literally bitter about the fact that he's gonna have justice. Do you know what that does to me, bro? I don't know what to do about this.
Well, did they not watch the video of Kyle Rittenhouse clearly defending himself?
They don't care. All they remember is Trayvon Martin being murdered, bro. That's what they see. They don't care,
let me see if I can flip this. Is how would you ever expect justice for yourself if you don't expect it for others? If you view the system, I'm not talking to you specifically. If you view the system as some way of getting retribution for something that happened to somebody else in the past, then you're never going to get anything. Ever.
I agree with that shit.
Yeah.
How can we make them fucking understand that? It's time to move on. It's time to fucking fight these.
I think the way you make people understand is because the majority of them are incapable of rational conversation and they just follow the nearest alpha, is you become the alpha that people follow. And you don't give a shit about what they think. And you just say, well, this is the way I'm doing things. And if you don't like it, you're a fucking idiot.
Is that how you become an alpha? Is that how you become an alpha? You just say that? Is that how Trump did? Is that how Trump did? This is I'm not making fun of him because like
it's really important that you don't give a shit about what people think.
I definitely don't because they're all fucking morons.
And you have to act on it, and you have to be able to tell people, I don't give a shit about what you think. You're being stupid, and here's why. And I'm going to continue doing this, even if you flop and flip and whine and piss and moan and whatever. I'm gonna keep doing it because I really don't give a shit about what you think. And when you do that, maybe the person flopping and flipping and pissing and moaning won't end up following you, but other people are going to watch that.
Yes.
And they'll end up following you.
Gentlemen, this is why we need to fucking be best friends. We can start a fucking whole new America. Well, like, I'm serious. I'm not even joking with you, bro. This conversation we just had, bro, is literally the beginning of a new America. I feel. So, what white person?
Make a new America. Let's make a new Tom.
What white? Dude, I'm fine with myself, and I'm not blaming any white person. I just
that's not what I'm talking about. Let me recommend this.
What? I know my flaws.
I'm not whatever. There's a book.
See, I can't be an alpha. I'm too femme.
I'm not talking about being alpha. Well, take some testosterone. Like, change your diet. Eat more coconut.
I'll get hairy, bro. I'll get hairy and shit.
Well, just shave it. Fuck. I mean,
can I get some hair over here? All right, bro. I'm sorry. That's all my personal problems, I swear. Go ahead.
So the book is called "Release Your Brakes" by Jim Newman.
You talked about that book before, right?
Okay. Well, let me talk about it again.
I'm just saying I fucking looked it up.
So it's how do you change your self-talk to change your attitude to change your behavior? Basically, how do you reprogram what's going on in here to actually change the behavior that appears on the outside? And what I've noticed, because I've taken this and I've applied it to myself because I've needed it for the business thing that I was doing, let me tell you, it's not as fucking easy as it sounds, and I've been scared shitless at several points in this process, and I've needed to reprogram myself in order to deal with it. Is when you find, just pay attention to what you're thinking to yourself at some point. And if you find yourself thinking stuff like, I can't do it, that's just not me, I'm no good at this, or anything like that, that's the self-talk that you're telling yourself that's affecting your attitude, which is affecting your behavior to get the thing that you're actually thinking about. What I figured out how to do, and I figured this out how to do, how to reading this book. So, part of what my business thing was is I had to do presentations to accountants and I had to do presentations to lawyers, because my goal was to get them to work and not bill me until I had money from doing a deal. And I was successful. It took a while, but I was successful for both cases. And I found myself, I remember when I was doing these presentations to accountants, it was really fucking hard because I'm trying to keep this straight face, give this presentation, and I'm like, at the end, I know I'm going to ask them to work on this deferred fee basis. And I tried to visualize a successful presentation, and I couldn't visualize it. And I said, well, fuck, if I can't visualize it, then I can't do it. And so I went to, I said, okay, what am I thinking? I'm thinking, I can't do this. They won't believe me. They're going to think I'm a moron. But I wrote down every negative thing I was thinking to myself, and I said, okay, I'm literally going to write the opposite. I can't do this. They're going to think I'm great. Literally write down the opposite. And then I transformed those positive messages into affirmations, which the book tells you about how to do that. And then I use that to reprogram myself. And then I think it took a day or two, but suddenly I woke up and I was able to visualize me having a successful conversation with these accountants. And I was like, okay, first of all, this shit works. But second of all, I couldn't have gone over that hump had I not reprogrammed myself. Now you can do this with anything. And so if you've got some sort of inferiority complex that you have happened to inherit from the culture or the race or whatever, you can totally reprogram yourself with this sort of shit.
Cool. I'm gonna check that book out. I think everybody should. The society makes everybody fucking second guess themselves and and chop on a bandwagon mentality. And so like everybody should probably try to reprogram themselves.
And let me thank Black society for this word, hater. I love that word. Yeah. Because it I think you can measure your success by the number of haters you've attracted, right? And
that's what Mariah Carey said.
She did? Okay, well, that was great point.
Why are you so obsessed with me? Okay.
And so, I mean, what does a hater do? They try to bring you down because they don't like the idea of you succeeding and them looking bad because they're standing next to you and you're succeeding.
Correct.
You gotta just let those fuckers go. They don't want you succeeding. Going back to responsibility, you succeeding shows them that what you were saying is possible. And if what you're saying was possible, that means they now have the ability to do it. If they have the ability to do it, they have the ability to respond to that, which is where we get the term responsibility. It means they're responsible for improving themselves because they now have the knowledge of how to do it. They don't want that knowledge, so they have to attack you to bring that down in order to... That's the fucking heroin we were talking about at the beginning, right? They take that down to say, okay, now I no longer have to be responsible for improving my situation because what Tommy did was actually bullshit. He's just faking it, or he's just he just thinks he's better than everybody else now, and he got lucky, or it doesn't matter what, right? That's why everybody wants to try to drag you down, and that's why it's so important to not give a shit about what anybody thinks about you.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way already. But yeah, this book sounds like a good plan. I'm definitely gonna check it out. Thanks for the advice, man.
Yeah. You look like you're about to fall asleep.
I'm not actually. I'm fucking like this is a conversation that I've never fucking had before. I don't know if you know this, bro. But I just talked to a white person about fucking slavery, and we like yelled at each other, and you did not let up, bro. You just conveyed to me some fucking strength, and then you just gave me some really good advice. So I'm just kind of like really kind of grateful, and like I can't wait to see what we fucking do, bro. With this world, because it's our time.
You can't see what? You can't wait to see what?
Oh, so am I cutting out again? I said I can't wait to see what we're gonna do to this world, bro. Because it's our time. This is our country, and I think we will rule. I think the time is now.
I think so. I agree, and yeah, we just got to take it. You got to learn the system, and the question I'm always asking myself is, how can I, with the limited amount of time and energy and whatever that I have, maximize its utility? Always asking myself that question.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, clearly I'm not maximizing it, because then I'd be God if it was ever actually maximized, right? So how do I make this better? And I'm always looking for, what can I make this better? And I mean, one of them was, which is the reason I'm doing this business thing that I'm doing, is I was really bad at money. And you mentioned this before too, I had a very negative attitude toward money.
Right.
And, well, shit, now I don't have any.
I know.
We're something to do with each other, right? So I said, okay, I have to overcome this and figure this out, because if you have money, you got power. There's no way around that. And I can sit and shake my fist at the people who have power, but they're just like, yeah, we got power. Fuck you.
Exactly.
Right. Well, okay. Well, how do I get that too? How do I improve myself to get that too? And a lot of it was just simply changing my mindset. What is a lot of money? What isn't a lot of money? What do I deserve? What don't I deserve? That sort of stuff. And once another good quote, may I have the courage to take from my own superabundance.
Yes, you may.
Right?
I guess you have to give yourself that permission. You have to give yourself that permission sometimes.
You have to do it over and over again, and you have to do it. It's not so simple as to say, I'm going to take from my own superabundance. Haha. When the rubber meets the road, for example, I'm doing this thing with these presentations with the accountants. What is the specific thing that was holding me back? And I just had to sit and write down, what am I thinking? Oh my God, that's what I'm telling myself. Fuck.
Okay, but Dylan,
I'm not gonna get this done.
I don't know if you know this, but that is a fucking lot of work, hard self work for one person to do. A lot of people don't try to fix themselves like that. You literally not only have the courage to go outside the box of the mainstream thought processes, but then you actually have the fucking gumption to actually try to change that and reprogram yourself. Do you know how much strength that is? For a normal person, normal people don't have that much strength.
I just hope I'm worthy of a soul.
I mean, you are, bro. Because literally, you work really hard for what you got. So literally, that's tight, bro. Man, I got mad respect, man.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's time for a new America, and I've chosen us to rule it. Just so you know.
American nation, say, boys, say. Who shall sit in the loftiest station, say, boys, say. Shall the men who trampled on the banner, they who now their country would betray, they who murder the innocent freedmen, say, boys, say. No, never, the loyal millions say. And 'tis they who rule this American nation, they, boys, they. Family royal, say, boys, say. If not those who are honest and loyal, say, boys, say. Then shall one elected as our servant in his pride assume a regal sway. Must we bend to the human dictator, say, boys, say. No, never, the loyal millions say. And 'tis they who rule this American nation, they, boys, they.
Hey, I saw your little one, Sabra, at the mall last week. Man, that girl sure knows how to tell me she's not your daughter and that I made a huge mistake.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today?